Once upon a time, in a quiet little town surrounded by mountains and rivers, there lived a boy named Arin. On the outside, his life looked peaceful. He had caring parents, good friends, and a school that encouraged him to dream big. But on the inside, Arin's mind was never still. Every small situation became a storm of thoughts. If his teacher asked, "Arin, which color do you like the most?" his heart began to race. His mind instantly filled with arguments. Blue is calming, but maybe green shows balance. But what if people laugh at me for choosing green? What if red would have been a stronger choice? By the time he thought of an answer, the question had already passed. Day after day, this overthinking grew heavier. In school, he doubted every answer he gave. At home, he replayed conversations in his mind 100 times, wondering if he had spoken too much or too little. At night, while the whole town slept under the silver glow of the moon, Arin lay awake, trapped in a never-ending cycle of what-ifs and maybes. The storm inside him was invisible to everyone else, but Arin could feel it. In his imagination, it looked like dark clouds filling his head, thunder roaring in his chest, and lightning bolts striking whenever he tried to make a decision. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find peace. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in shades of gold and orange, Arin walked by the riverside. His mind was once again filled with noise. What if I fail the exam? What if my friends don't like me? What if I never become good enough? His thoughts swirled like a whirlpool, pulling him deeper. But then, something caught his attention. Beneath a great old tree near the river sat an elderly man, calm and still, as if the world around him had stopped. His eyes were closed, his face peaceful, and his breath moved slowly, like the gentle rhythm of waves. Unlike Arin's storm, this man's mind seemed like a quiet sky after the rain. Curious, Arin stood there and watched. For the first time, he wondered, how can someone sit so quietly without being attacked by thoughts? How can he look so free while I feel so trapped? And in that moment, Arin felt a tiny spark of hope. Perhaps there was a way to escape the storm inside his head. Perhaps there was a way to find calmness too. Little did Arin know, this simple meeting by the riverside would become the first step of his journey, a journey to understand his mind, to silence the storm of thoughts, and to discover the hidden power of an empty mind. After that unusual evening by the riverside, Arin could not stop thinking about the calm old man under the tree. While his friends played and laughed, while his classmates worried about homework, Arin's mind replayed the image of that peaceful face. How can he be so calm when I feel so restless? Arin asked himself again and again. His storm of thoughts refused to quiet down, yet something inside him wanted to know the old man's secret. The next day, with hesitant steps, Arin returned to the riverside. The old man was there again, sitting cross-legged under the same tree. The breeze moved softly around him, and the sound of the flowing river seemed to dance in harmony with his breathing. Arin approached slowly. His heart pounded. He had so many questions but didn't know where to begin. Finally, he whispered, "Sir, how do you sit so silently without getting lost in thoughts?" The man opened his eyes. They were gentle, yet deep, like windows to a calm ocean. He smiled and replied softly, "Because I have learned the power of the silent pause." Arin tilted his head. "Silent pause?" The old man nodded. "Your mind is like a crowded marketplace. Thoughts shout and push, everyone wants to be heard at once. But when you pause, just pause, you step out of the noise. You don't need to fight the thoughts. You simply watch them and let them pass." Arin frowned. "But my thoughts never stop. They keep coming like rain in a storm." The old man chuckled. "And do you stop the rain by shouting at it? No, child. You take shelter. In the same way, you take shelter in silence. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and for just a moment, pause." The man invited Arin to sit beside him. Hesitantly, Arin folded his legs and closed his eyes. At first, his mind screamed even louder. What if this doesn't work? What if I look foolish? What if I'm wasting time? The storm thundered on. But then he remembered the old man's words. Don't fight, just watch. Arin began to notice his breath. Inhale, exhale, like gentle waves on the river. The more he observed, the quieter his thoughts became. It wasn't complete silence yet, but for the first time, Arin felt a small pause between one thought and the next. When he opened his eyes, the old man was smiling. "Did you feel it?" he asked. Arin nodded slowly. It was like... The storm paused for a second. The man placed his hand gently on Arin's shoulder. That second, my child, is where peace lives. And the more you practice, the longer that pause will grow. Arin's eyes widened with wonder. For the first time in his life, he had touched a moment of silence. It was small, like the flicker of a candle, but enough to light hope in his heart. And so began Arin's practice of the silent pause, the first step to calming the storm within. A few weeks after learning the silent pause, Arin's life had begun to change. He was still the same boy, still living in the same little town, but something inside him was shifting. Every morning, before rushing into the noise of the day, he would sit quietly and breathe, just as the old man had taught him. At first, his thoughts fought back. They tried to pull him into worry and confusion. But slowly, with practice, Arin discovered that he could step away from the storm, even if only for a short while. One afternoon, as Arin sat under the tree again, he looked at the old man curiously and asked, "Master, why do my thoughts always return? Even when I pause after some time, the storm comes back. Am I doing something wrong?" The old man smiled gently. "No, Arin, you are not doing wrong, but let me show you something." He picked up a clay cup from his side. It was already full of water, almost to the brim. "Imagine this cup is your mind," he said. "Now tell me, can I pour fresh tea into this cup?" Arin shook his head. "No, master. If you pour more, it will overflow." The old man nodded. "Exactly. A mind full of old thoughts, old worries, and old fears has no space for clarity. To receive something new, you must first empty the cup." Arin listened carefully. "But master, how do I empty my mind? The thoughts keep filling it every moment." The old man's eyes twinkled. "By letting go. You don't hold the rain in your hands, do you? You let it fall. In the same way, do not hold every thought. Let it pass. Only then will your mind become like an empty cup, ready to receive wisdom, peace, and strength." The animation would show Arin imagining his head as a cup overflowing with messy water, dark, muddy, and restless. As he closed his eyes and breathed, he visualized the water slowly draining out, leaving the cup clear and empty. For the first time, he felt lighter. The heaviness in his chest reduced, and the stormy clouds in his head began to part, revealing a little sunlight. Arin looked at the old man in amazement. "So, my thoughts are like water. If I keep holding them, I overflow with confusion. But if I let them flow, my mind becomes free." The old man nodded with satisfaction. "Yes, my child. Remember, only an empty cup can be filled. And only an empty mind can truly see the beauty of life." That day, Arin walked back home with a smile. His problems had not disappeared, and the world around him had not changed. But he had changed. For the first time, he carried within him the feeling of lightness, the power of an empty cup. And with each passing day, he grew more determined to continue this journey toward peace. After many days of practice, Arin was no longer the same boy who once drowned in endless thoughts. He still had worries, and the storm still tried to return, but now he had learned how to pause, how to let go, and how to keep his mind light, like an empty cup. One evening, as the golden sun slowly melted into the horizon, Arin sat under the great tree with the old man. The river reflected the sky's colors, orange, pink, and gold, like a painting come to life. For the first time, Arin felt the beauty of the world without being clouded by thoughts. The old man looked at him kindly. "Arin," he said softly, "you have learned to pause, and you have learned to empty your cup. But there is one more step. Inside you, there is a light, a guiding flame. If you discover it, you will never lose your way." Arin's eyes widened. "A light? Where is it? How do I find it?" The old man smiled. "Close your eyes and look not with your mind, but with your heart." So Arin closed his eyes. At first, he saw only darkness. His thoughts tried to return, but he let them pass like drifting clouds. Slowly, very slowly, he noticed something. A tiny glow, like the flicker of a candle in the distance. The glow grew brighter as he focused. It felt warm, safe, and familiar, as if it had always been there, waiting for him. This was not the noise of his thoughts, nor the confusion of his doubts. This was something deeper, clear, steady, and pure. The animation would show Arin sitting in darkness, surrounded by shadows of his old worries. One by one, the shadows dissolved as a gentle golden light began to shine from his chest, spreading warmth all around him. When Arin opened his eyes, he gasped softly, "Master, I saw it, a light inside me. It felt so calm and strong." The old man nodded with a knowing smile. "That light is your true self, Arin. It is your inner strength, your clarity, your wisdom. When the storm of thoughts tries to drown you, return to that light. It will guide you." Arin sat quietly, letting the words sink in. He realized that all along, he had been searching outside for peace, trying to fix the world, trying to control everything. But the real answer had been inside him, hidden beneath the noise. For the first time, Arin felt a deep peace that could not be shaken. He understood that overthinking was just the surface storm, but beneath it lay a vast ocean of calmness, an inner light that nothing could extinguish. That night, as Arin walked home, he no longer feared the storm. He knew that no matter how dark the clouds became, the light within him would always shine. And with this realization, Arin was ready for the final part of his journey, discovering the freedom within. After weeks of practicing the silent pause, learning the lesson of the empty cup, and discovering the glow of his inner light, Arin's cartoon world began to transform. He was still the same bright-colored animated boy, walking through the same little cartoon town, but something about him felt completely different. The storm clouds that once followed him everywhere were now rare visitors. Instead of being controlled by endless what-ifs, Arin had learned to let go, to pause, and to return to the light within whenever he felt lost. One sunny morning, Arin skipped happily through his town. Around him, the cartoon birds chirped cheerful tunes, the rivers sparkled, and the mountains smiled in the distance. For the first time, Arin noticed how beautiful his world truly was. His eyes weren't filled with worry anymore. They were wide open with joy. At school, when his teacher asked him a question, Arin no longer froze. He smiled, took a gentle breath, and answered from his heart. If he was right, he smiled. If he was wrong, he laughed. The storm inside him had lost its power. One afternoon, Arin returned to the riverside tree where his journey began. The old animated master was waiting there, his face glowing with calmness. The old man looked at him warmly. "Arin," he said, "you have walked far. You have learned silence, emptiness, and light. Tell me, what do you feel now?" Arin thought for a moment. Then his face brightened with a wide cartoon smile. "I feel free, Master. The storm still comes sometimes, but it no longer controls me. I know how to pause. I know how to let go. I know how to follow the light inside." The old man nodded slowly, his eyes twinkling. "That, my child, is true freedom. Freedom is not about controlling the world outside. It is about mastering the world inside. When your mind is free, no storm can shake you." The animation shows Arin standing tall as the sky above clears completely. The old storm clouds drift away, replaced by sunshine, soft winds, and a rainbow stretching across the horizon. His once heavy steps now look light and playful, as if he could almost float. Arin closed his eyes for a moment and felt it, the freedom within. It wasn't the absence of problems nor the disappearance of challenges. It was the power to face them calmly, without fear, without drowning in endless what-ifs. From that day forward, Arin's life changed. He still studied, played, laughed, and sometimes even worried, but he never again lost himself in the storm. Whenever doubt or fear tried to return, he remembered the pause, the empty cup, and the light within him. And so, the little animated boy who once lived in a storm discovered peace, clarity, and freedom inside himself. Narrator, closing voiceover. The mind can be noisy, filled with doubts and fears, but when we learn to pause, to let go, and to look within, we discover a light that no storm can extinguish. That light is freedom.